Well, today we're joined by Bob Jensen of the Huskerland Prep Report. It is just about high school football time, and it means it's just about time for Bob's annual preseason magazine to be released. Bob, thanks for the time. Where'd the summer go? And I'm sure you're all charged up.
Yeah. It's always great to be on with you, Jayson. Congratulations again on your national level broadcasting award. It's a great day when good people get honored. So, with that out of the way, and hopefully that's how you wrote it. Hopefully I read that.
Yes,
correctly.
you did. You did perfectly. So, thank you, my friend.
So anyway, I'm all talked out. I'm all written out. I've been working on the old mag for 35 years, but 5 months specifically to produce the 35th. So anyway, ready to get after it. Ready to see some teams play.
Okay, as you look at this, you go into this season. I know you always have your eyes on some teams, but who really has your attention to start off this year?
Well, one of the bigger things going on, is Bennington football in Class B. Bennington was a good football program, and it got to be kind of like really good right before COVID, and then Cam Lenhart from Central City, who happens to be a classmate of my daughter's at Central City High School, don't let that impact what I'm about to say, came in, things just jumped up. And people who follow the game know they've won 39 games in a row, which is a Class B record. They've won 3 state championships in a row. And I don't think I'm going to, shock a lot of people when I say that we will start them at the top. I mean, it's the old thing, you're the champion until somebody else beats you. Beyond that, there's another in D1. There is a game. I don't care who says what. They want to see this game played again. And it is Stanton, last year's state champion, and Sandy Creek, who faced each other in the semifinals last year, and Stanton won. It was by far the best game anybody played against Stanton. Those two teams are certainly a big deal. And then I guess when you look at the top of Class A, Millard South has assembled quite an arsenal. They have got a tremendous amount of talent on that team. There's a real good chance they're going to be last year's West Side.
I was going to ask you how you saw Class A shaping up. I've seen some good things written about Kearney. What's your thoughts on the Bearcats?
Yeah. The Bearcats, Coach Vandencool, he's not one to get on top of a ladder and shout the high praise of his team, but he likes his team. He should. He's got his quarterback back. The Novacek kid is a really good football player. Sawyer Schilke, their linebacker. We don't have very many 235-pound linebackers that are going to go to a Power 5 college program, but Sawyer is one of those. And one thing you can always count on Kearney, they're always fast, they're always athletic, and you throw in some of these extra things. They're going to have a great kicking game, and they're going to be in the mix. I think Millard South's going to be awfully hard to beat, but Kearney's going to be right in with that next group of teams.
Today we're talking with Bob Jensen of the Huskerland Prep Report as we preview the upcoming season and talk about his preview magazine. Bob, you were talking about some teams that were coming back looking to defend their title. What do you think about the SEM Mustangs and six-man? They do have some kids back.
They do. They're going to be tough to beat. I will say this much. Last year's final was SEM and Hay Springs. And Hay Springs, the Cinderella story, having people out and hurt and then getting hot and making it all the way to the finals. I wouldn't be shocked to see that happen again. I wouldn't be shocked at all, actually, to see that happen again because Hay Springs has got a lot of kids back. But there'll be some other teams. A team that I really like in that class is Stewart. Stewart jumped up a couple notches last year, and they got basically everybody back. If I don't know how dark a horse they are, because I'm sure people notice that, but Stewart's going to be really good in six-man.
How about statewide? There are teams on the radar that have been down, but they have been building a little bit, and they certainly could break through in 2024.
It's okay. This isn't going to completely fit that profile. Okay, but Jayson, Axtell. I will tell you this: Axtell, which was 7-3 last year, made the playoffs, won their district. So I mean, They've already built quite a bit. There isn't a team in any class that I had more coaches off the record say, hey, watch out for Axtell. And so I actually made a campus visit to Axtell a couple of weeks ago, got to size things up a little bit. I like what I saw. They've got some athletes, they've got some size, they've got proven quarterback with Halverson, Bergstrom at running back. They've got some big boys in the line. I tend to agree. I think that's, I don't think they're going to win state necessarily, but I think that's a team that's going to be playing a lot of football this year.
And I think folks for years have kind of scratched their head with all of the success they've had in track and field, and that has not transferred over to a football yet. So you'd have to figure maybe the Wildcats are due to keep this rolling.
Yeah, well, that's true. And, the other thing that I kind of liked, something I really liked while I was down there, the great Justin Swedenberg.
Oh, yes.
And then the boys were all smart enough to know who Eric Gustafson was. And so, the bar is set pretty high at Axtell. But anyway, that is one of them. And there's another 8-man team that we'll see what happens. They've got all the skill in the world at Summerlin. They were in the state basketball tournament. They've got good size, good athletic ability and whatnot. There's a team, we stuck them in at number 10. They kind of had my fingers crossed a little bit there, but that's a team that they play enough defense. Could be certainly a quarterfinal team in a very, very strong class. D1 is incredibly deep this year.
How about individually? Last year, a lot of eyes were on Carter Nelson at Ainsworth, and he did not disappoint. In your travels around the state and talking to people, who are some of the guys that certainly are front runners this year?
Well, Sawyer's on my list. We've actually had a little communication, but I need to get to him. I don't need to see him in person to know what we got there. But I have, in our top 225, some of the top seniors I have already, done interviews with, this, that, and the other. Christian Jones, I was actually at the Rivals, the Rivals National 100 camp, bringing the top 100 prospects in the country and, have them go at it. Christian was in that group, and Christian held up incredibly well. He's a linebacker and wide receiver at Westside. He is still undecided, but I like our chances of getting him to Lincoln. And, Tyson Terry at Omaha North, especially you wrestling people, all about him. He's never lost a 5A heavyweight match. And Chase Lofton, that was a disappointment. I Chase Lofton, who transferred from Elkhorn North to become part of the team at Millard South. He's going to Florida State. And then the best part, I've been waiting for this. There's a real Lexington flavor to this whole deal because Pierce Mooberry and Caden Vermas, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, those are some names.
Exactly. Those are some hardcore Lexington names. And I was praying that I would never have to hear the name Ken Vermas again. But sure enough, I go to interview the kid, and we wind up talking about Ken Vermas and Ron Locks and Tom Wisdom and Al Skirley, and I felt like it was 1986 all over again.
Wow. Wow, you just went through the line there. Huh, all you needed there was a Kiffin and a Tingelhoff, and you'd had it all set up.
Well, you got to remember, I was the sports writer for the old Lexington Clipper there for a year, and I got to work with all those guys. And actually, it's one of my favorite years in my career. Actually,
that's a great group of people that you just mentioned. Well, tell me about the Preview magazine. I know this is a labor of love. You're about to send that out. If folks would like to get their hands on one, how does that happen?
Well, I appreciate the chance to talk about it. This is the 35th year that we have published Huskerland. We no longer publish the weekly newspaper version, which makes me sad to say out loud again, but the magazine is still alive and well. It covers the entire state, including our friends out in the Panhandle. Ryan Smith, if you're listening out there in Sydney, you know what I mean. Anyway, the point being that if you want to maybe check it out, it's $25. We get nailed for $10 postage. It's a pretty heavy magazine, but $25. And people, their best bet is they can text me at my phone, 308-940-2136. They can find me on Twitter and at Huskerland Bob, 66 years old, and I am at Huskerland Bob. I didn't see that coming, Jason. But
you're evolving.
They can do that. They can't. Yeah, I am. I'm a baller, no doubt about that. And then the other way, of course, is email. And my email that they can send it to is jensenpub, JENSENPUB @hamilton.net, and we'll hook you up. Magazine is on schedule. It'll be delivered to me on the 8th of August. It takes us a little bit to get it processed, and then people will get them the week of August 11th.
Super. And it wouldn't be the start of the year if you didn't do a magazine. So I'm glad you're able to put this together again and make it happen.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It gives me a chance to work with a lot of really good people. You know, most everybody that's connected with high school sports, they do it for the right reason, especially in our state. And it also gives me a reason to get a chance, an opportunity to meet some great young student athletes during the interviews and so on and so forth.
And that was Bob Jensen of the Huskerland Prep Report. Once again, if you are a fan of high school football, or if you know someone who's a fan of high school football, Bob's preseason magazine each year is a must-read. For the Rural Radio Network, I'm Jayson Jorgensen.